My only suggestion is that if you live here in the Knightdale area of North Carolina, we're in the transition zone, don't wait till the middle of September to start this project if you're going to be using Southern Perfection. I definitely recommend starting it about the first part of September. And I had no trouble getting it to grow underneath my trees when they were in full shade. And my only problem has been the floods. But now we've got some moderate weather and the grass is just perked up. Look at this. It'd be the envy of the neighborhood. Now I still got a lot of leaves. I didn't cut everything. You see all the leaves I have, but I did use a push mower here today. This is my test plot that I've been reporting on from the driveway down to the Christmas tree, and then from the Christmas tree probably another 30 or 50 feet down that way. You know, that's where the trucks got stuck. And everything just looks beautiful. And the rest of the yard has come along. You know, it just took me longer to get started on the rest of it. But I got a feeling if the weather holds out, the next couple of weeks, the whole property will look great. A few weeks ago, I gave this a rating of 7.5 out of 10. Today, I'd call it a 9. I have just a very few bare spots, and they are filling in quickly. I bet you this grass has grown a ½ inch since I cut it earlier today. This is very promising. Okay, got a project going over here. Got leaves ankle deep, and I'm burning trash. Yeah, I probably need to get a rake and pull some of them leaves away from the barrel. But it's that time of year. I got one tree that doesn't shed its leaves till New Year's, and then it comes right back in February. Some sort of oak tree. Wants to be a fir tree. Okay, how's it look to you? If you want a yard like this, you can just follow my videos. I didn't do anything special. I didn't do anything you couldn't do. Southern Perfection. Yep, slow grow, but the results are amazing for the 10th of November. Still got my fingers crossed for the summertime though. It's kind of wet out here. It's been raining for 24 hours. It's November the 12th, 2020. Right now it's not raining very hard. The water's starting to subside, but you can see where it came out of my ditch. Usually there's no water in this ditch at all. Today, she's going full blast. Pushed all this debris up into my driveway. That's old Dogwood Lane. We'll walk across here to the berry patch. This is crazy. Look how high this water is. It's like a pond down here. Usually the water in this creek is about, on average, less than 2 inches deep. I can't get much farther. I'm sinking into the ground here. Yeah. You don't see this very often. The grass seems to be holding up pretty good though. I've had 4 or 5 instances already this season where my grass had not developed enough to resist the forces of nature. Had a lot of problems. I think I'm going to survive this one though. I see my delivery line from the ram pump hanging on. It's floating. I'll go down here and see how bad it is in the creek. don't even know if my ram pump is still there. Yeah, this ditch usually is bone dry. Yeah, I seriously doubt if my ram pump survived this onslaught. I can tell you right now it didn't. If you follow my videos, you've watched me go down into this creek. This is where the intake to my ram pump is on this side of the road. And this is where it's on average about 2 inches deep. I can barely keep the intake. I would not want to slip into that creek today. Usually I just about have to rappel down this cliff bank to get down to my ram pump. Yeah, if that pump survived that, it will be a miracle. But it's late enough in the season, I don't think I'm going to need it. If it's gone, then next year I'll just build another one. They're real simple to make. Yeah, this is one for the books. Not raining now, not very much. But I just checked the weather and flash flood warning. We're expecting another 3 to 4 inches this afternoon in this area. This could get really interesting before it's over with. Southern Perfection grass in my front yard seems to be holding up in spite of the flood. This little irrigation ditch leads down to the creek. Yesterday I was almost down to the end of the irrigation ditch down there, sitting on a little bucket doodling for crawfish. The creek was bone dry, but there was a lot of crawfish chimneys. You know, those little tubes that come up vertically out of moist ground when there's no water around. Crawfish make those. And I did hook 3 crawfish, didn't get any of them. As soon as they got near the top of the hole, they hit dry land and was able to pull off. But I'll bet they're swimming around today. Harbor Freight shelter that I bought last year to cover up my wood pile that's starting to sag. I had a little hole in there to allow rainwater to come through, but this time of year there's so many leaves falling it probably clogged up that drain hole I had in it. Look at all these leaves. Right up here is a spot I remediated this past week. Brought in new sand and reseeded. That's completely washed away. I tried to make a little dam yesterday out of some bricks to prevent erosion, but it doesn't seem like it did that much. All the topsoil was gone. This old shelter here I've had for about 10 years. Had to replace the cover, or add to the cover. And I see the same problems happen down there. I had a cinder block to use as a weight, and I can see that the bungee cord broke off of the cinder block, which allowed slack to get into that section of the cover. And even though I had a drain hole there, it's clogged up with leaves. So that's just another project coming up tomorrow. Well, at least for now I'm safe, as long as the wind don't blow too hard. You can see how big these trees are real close to my house. The roots are exposed on the downhill side of them. There's a real possibility, as wet as this ground is, if we get some wind, some of these trees could probably blow over. Look at that. That's an incident waiting to happen. Same thing here. Yeah. Big tall trees. And if you don't think it can happen, take a look at that one. It blew over. That's My bedroom's right there. I'll be thinking about that tonight as the wind starts blowing. I don't know if you can see that, but I emptied that rain gauge last night when I went to bed, and now it's almost full. It's over 4 inches in there. And it's about 4 1/4 inches. Gauge only goes up to 5. But I'll just sit here on the front porch and drink a beer. It's a good excuse to do that. Of course, if the sun was shining, I'd say that's a good excuse to sit on the porch and drink a beer. If it was cold, if it was hot, if there was leaves on the tree, there's always a reason to drink a beer. Okay, I'll let you know if anything changes around here regarding this grass.